Hello everyone and welcome to episode 21 of my Guild Wars 2 series. Today should be a pretty fun day because I have a lot planned for this episode. It's places that I want to go see, events that I want to do, and some maps that I'm going to complete in this episode. So starting straight off, I want to head into Holbrack, and I kind of want to spend some more time to explore the capital city just a little bit more. We explored it last episode when we were doing the first story chapter for the Norn part of the personal story here in Holbrack and in Wayfarer Foothills. So I kind of just want to come around here, around the central area, and first we have the Wolf Lodge here, which we explored last episode. But let's go ahead and come over here, and we have a few areas that we can explore, one of which is this area called the Hall of Legends, which is basically kind of just like a big memorial-ish area dedicated to a bunch of Norn. And if we come up here, we can come see a very special area of Holbrack. It is called the Lost Spirits Hollow, and what this place is, it's basically a memorial for the spirits of the wild that sacrificed themselves in order to ensure the Norn's safety and security in being able to reach the southern part of the Shiverpeaks here. So there are 3 spirits of the wild that actually sacrifice their lives. So we are used to the 4 main spirits of the wild here of bear, raven, snow leopard, and wolf that guided the Norn here to Holbrack and to the areas around here. But there are 3 spirits of the wild that held off Jormag from being able to chase after the Norn, and they sacrificed themselves in order to do so. And we have 3 shrines here dedicated to those 3 spirits of the wild. Here we have Shrine to Owl, which says this shrine is dedicated to Owl who was devoured by Jormag. Although spirits have been missing before, Owl has been destroyed forever. What comes next is an assault on the senses, a flurry of feathers, a scream into the maw of oblivion, a creeping coldness, but one cessation towers over them all: hope. And then here we have the Shrine to Wolverine. This shrine is dedicated to Wolverine, one of the spirits who gave the Norn time to escape Jormag's rise and find safety in Holbrack. There is a vague emptiness of something lost and perhaps unable to ever be found again. And then last we have Shrine to Ox here. So the shrine is dedicated to Ox, one of the spirits who gave the Norn time to escape Jormag's rise and find safety in Holbrack. The thumping sound of a heavy animal running can be heard, but it swiftly disappears beyond the reach of any senses. So these shrines are a very somber reminder of the events that happened further north in the Shiverpeaks, and it seems that these 3 spirits have been lost forever, but hopefully there's a chance that we are able to find some sort of shred of them left alive somewhere in the world. But for now, let's go ahead and explore more of this area here. I want to go ahead and peek down into this little cave here, which there is a big cavern here in Holbrack that spans much of the city here. And just right here, we can go ahead and get a point of interest here. It's just a basic steadying, and it's actually Scardy's steadying, which I believe is one of the sons of Newt Whitebear. And he has 2 sons, both of which are the co-leaders of the Wolfborn, who are basically the Norn's security force here in Holbrack. So similar to like the Seraph and Divinity's Reach, the Norn have the Wolfborn, and here we have a vista of the Bear Lodge. And let's go ahead and come down here and we can just explore it a little bit. I actually kind of would have died there if I was not on my raptor. Let's go ahead and run through here. We have the waypoint, and the Bear Lodge actually connects into the giant cavern complex that's here in Holbrack. Very fitting for bears because it's like a giant bear den. Let's go ahead and run through here, and we can see there is a waypoint and a couple point of interest in here. So let's go ahead and just grab them really quickly, and we can kind of see how beautiful this cavern is here. There's some light shining through from an opening in the cliff roof right there, but there's also a point of interest right here we can get. And then we can get this waypoint, and then this point of interest as well, which is Sigfast's steadying. So we saw Scardy's steadying all the way over here on the other side of the cavern here. Here is Sigfast, the other of Newt Whitebear's sons, the brother of Scardy. And then leaving this cavern here, which is called Shelter Rock, we can go ahead and head back out into the snowy air of Holbrack. And then here we have the Raven Lodge, so we can just grab this waypoint really quickly and then run into here, and there's 2 points of interest, one on each half of this lodge here. You can go ahead and get the point of interest at the Raven Hollow, and then we can just come straight over to the other side and get the point of interest for Raven's Hearth. And we also leveled up to level 21 there, so I'll go ahead and accept my level up reward. Got 6 more hero points. Speaking of which, we can go ahead and come into our training here, and we have a new slot on our skill bar, which I actually got a couple levels ago. And let's go ahead and just learn some commands. So I'll go ahead and learn all that I can. And then here we have a bunch of different things we could pick, and I'm going to go ahead and pick Sikkim, which is a very powerful ranger skill, and is actually one of the most important skills for rangers actually. And basically it forces your pet to rush at your foe, which reveals them and dealing increased damage. And basically the skill just increases a lot of potential damage that can be done against any enemy. Let's go ahead and run up here, and we can grab this vista here and see this area of Holbrook. Raven and Snow Leopard there. We saw the Raven Shrine. Let's go ahead and come over here. We can take a look at Snow Leopard's lodge here. We can just grab the waypoint, and then there is one point of interest in here that we can get. So let's go ahead and run through here. We got that point of interest. Let's go ahead and explore one more place of Holbrook before we go to our next area. And the final area that I want to explore, which is actually a place we have explored already, is the Vein of the Dragon, which is home to the Sons of Svanir that are taking up residence here in Holbrook. As long as they don't cause any trouble, they're allowed to stay here, but they do have caused a little bit of trouble, so I'm not entirely sure why they're still allowed to stay here. But we got the Dragon Hollow point of interest, and let's go ahead and waypoint back to Wayfarer Foothills, where I want to continue exploring this map for now. So let's go to the last waypoint we were at here at Lost Worm Cave, and we can go ahead and talk to the scout that's right next to here, and we can go ahead and see what our next objectives to get in this map is.
As Lion Guard, it's our duty to defend the trade roads to and from Lion's Arch. That's made somewhat difficult when one of our fortress havens is under constant attack by the Sons of Svanir. We've been so busy going on the offensive against Jormag's worshippers that we barely noticed the Charr setting up operations in this territory.
So we have 3 more tasks left to get in this map, and this scout revealed all of them. So let's go ahead and see a ton of different pieces of content that is happening up here in the northernmost part of Wayfarer Foothills. So first we have a second Lion Guard haven here in this map. Let's go ahead and run over here, and we can fight Sons of Svanir, where there's actually an event going on right now to defend the Shrine of Jorah. I believe I talked about it like 2 episodes ago. Let's go ahead and just defend this a little bit. Can get some credit towards our task here, where the primary part of this task is to kill Sons of Svanir, but also there are a bunch of other threats around here that we can take care of as well. And we have one player here fighting with us. Let's go ahead and just slowly shoot some of these Sons of Svanir. We can complete the event, and we all have progressed a lot of our tasks here. Then let's go ahead and run into the haven itself here. So it's just along the Lion Road here. Go ahead and run into here. I see an Ice Spirit Elemental that we can fight. There's also a ton of downed Lion Guard right there.
Looks like the Sons of Svanir are trying to destroy Jorah's shrine. I can't leave my post, but I bet you could help.
And after having revived the 10 or so downed NPCs that were right there, I've almost completed this task. Just need to do a little bit more. Let's go ahead and fight this Ice Spirit Elemental, and then we can also go fight this Roadblock and Son of Svanir that is right there, but we don't need to fight the Son of Svanir. Let's go ahead and just make our way a little further east here. So this area might be a little recognizable for people that have watched my Let's Play series up to this point, where we actually ran through here on our Charr Thief when we were going to Snowden Drifts, which is the next map we will be going to. But we ran all the way from Diasa Plateau, which is actually right over here. We're kind of going backwards on the journey that we did on our Charr Thief. So let's go ahead and run over here, and there's a task over here for us to do, as well as a waypoint we can gather as well. And then right through here is the passage into Diasa Plateau, but we're going to go ahead and stay in this map for now. And then we can go ahead and interact with Dahlia calves to capture them, and to defend captured calves from predators. So let's go ahead and just help this Charr here, who's actually capturing the Dahlia calves for whatever purpose they are doing. We could probably go chat with him and see what he wants with them. So he's actually gathering the Dahlia calves in order to take him to the ranch that he works at, which normally only works with cattle, but they want to expand their livestock. So let's go ahead and, just for the sake of map completion here, we can go ahead and capture some of these. That was a little bit of a sad task, but let's go ahead and continue our journey towards reaching 100% map completion here. Right here we have a gate to a special town that was introduced in Living World Season 1. You can go ahead and just uncover the map art there, but for the most part I'm going to go ahead and just ignore that, and we can go ahead and head a little further north. There's actually a point of interest in there, but we can just get it from running up to the gate. Let's go ahead and come into this cave here, where there is a hero point and a point of interest for us to get. So we can just run through here, and it is the ancient cave spring that's all the way up over there. We got the point of interest already. Looks like we have a veteran cave spider to fight, so let's go ahead and just quickly deal with this threat.
Sick 'em!
And then we can get this hero point here. And then we can go ahead and run up the hill here to this waypoint right here. This is a very cool area where there's a lot of like geysers here in the mountainside. And if we check right here, there's actually an entrance to a brand new map. And I kind of want to run through it because this is a really cool area. I've talked about down here at Holbrack, where I thought this area that takes us from like a level 10 area basically, or level like honestly level 2. You start at level 2 right here, you can just run right here. And it's a level 40 to 50 zone that you can get to through Holbrack. Well, here in northeastern Wayfarer Foothills, right here, we can get to a level 70 to 80 map called Frostgorge Sound. And if we just run through here really quickly, this is a little sneak peek at this map that's going to take us a long time to get to. We have to level up all the way to level 70, and we have to get here in the story as well, though you don't necessarily have to do that if you're just playing the game. But we can come through here and we can see that this agent right here, that is an agent of the Order of Whispers, is level 72. Their level is purple, meaning it's a very, very, very high level. This Minotaur calf right there, level 71. I'm going to go ahead and turn right around, and we can just run back this way, and we're not going to deal with this area at all because we are way too low level. But it is something that we can look forward to down the road. Something that we can do right now is run west here, and we can go ahead and work on the last task in this zone, which is basically raiding a huge Son of Svanir encampment. And there's also a vista that we can see right there and a few point of interest in here. So let's go ahead and just slowly work on this area. It's called Svanir's Dome. This is one of the biggest Sons of Svanir camps that exists in the game. Not necessarily the biggest, I wouldn't give it that title. There's probably like 2 other camps that I would consider even bigger than this one, but this one is definitely huge, and there are a ton of dragon banners around here. There are not many Sons of Svanir around because the meta event in this area was actually successful for us and unsuccessful for the Sons of Svanir, so it looks like a lot of them have been driven out from here, but they'll slowly make their way back into here. This is the second meta event in this map. Looks like 2 just spawned right there. Where the first one is the road boss that is south of here that we'll explore at some point. But this meta event is pretty basic, where there's not too much going on here. It's just like a big attack where the Lion Guard are attacking the dome from 2 different angles, and basically you can help out on the offensive, and then it all kind of leads here where both groups kind of meet up right here and they fight a giant Son of Svanir that comes through that door right there. Which is definitely a little bit of a challenging boss fight, but not necessarily a world boss. But speaking of a challenging boss fight, we can go ahead and run up here and we can get this hero challenge and get an extra hero point for us. Let's go ahead and interact with this banner. You can say we accept the challenge, and we have a very high ranking Son of Svanir right here, as well as 2 very weak members of his crew that we can go ahead and just defeat. And I'll go ahead and use all my abilities here to deal as much damage as I can. I'll go ahead and swap to my greatsword and deal a ton of damage, and we can get that free hero point right there. And that was the last hero challenge in this map that I needed. Let's go ahead and grab this point of interest that I accidentally forgot right there, and then we can go ahead and fight some more Sons of Svanir all around this camp. And with having completed this task, all we have left in this map is a point of interest and a waypoint. And the point of interest I have left is actually a little bit embarrassing because I accidentally missed a point of interest all the way down here at near the start of our journey here in Wayfarer Foothills. And also what I did right there is I drew on the map, which for anyone who doesn't know, this has been something that has existed in the game the entire time, but they recently made it a little bit easier for people to discover this feature by adding this little icon here, where it now shows that Alt plus left click will place a personal marker. So we can place a little waypoint on the map there, and then we can also see it on our mini map, so we can kind of like orient ourselves towards it, and it'll just mark somewhere that we want to go or mark a place of importance for us. We can also shift and left click in order to leave a ping, which if you hold down, if you can just click really quickly, we can just do a basic ping. But if you hold down, we can have an optional one where we could have like an X, a shield, a cautionary warning, or a sword. So we could be like attack there, defend there, be careful of something that might come there. Which we can also then do shift and right drag, which will allow us to draw on the map, which some people use for nefarious reasons, but we could just say this is taking a long time. Subscribe. Let's go ahead and waypoint down here really quickly, and we can go ahead and grab this point of interest. And as we are coming up here, I noticed that this merchant here is related to one of the events that has to do with honoring Hare's spirit, and there's a big like event chain that happens, and at the end you can unlock a merchant. This is true for a ton of events in this game, where if you stick around you can actually unlock some special merchants. This one is particularly cool because if you talk to her, we can buy a special like rabbit offering food, which will increase our down health, which isn't too useful. But we have a potion of jackalope transformation, which isn't too useful either, but it's really cool, where we can actually turn into a jackalope for 5 minutes. So here we can see I have transformed from a Norn into a bunny with some antlers here. Go ahead and return to my normal form, and we can go ahead and grab this point of interest that's right here. A very cool little area that has some crystals. We were over here to grab this vista, but I failed to walk 2 feet in this direction. Let's go ahead and run over here really quickly, because I guess while we're up here, we'll go ahead and check this out, where we've explored 2 of the entrances from the starting area of the Norn here at Wayfarer Foothills into the Wayfarer Foothills proper. But here is the 3rd one from the cliffs. If you just run through here, we have some cave spiders and stuff, and we can come through a cavern, and we can come out on the other side into a little bit of a pass here, and we can see, I'll go ahead and just jump up here a little bit. This is the valley that we started in. So when we created our Norn character, we started here, and already in just a few episodes we have done so much on our character. Let's go ahead and waypoint back north, and we can go ahead and get the last waypoint that we need to unlock, which is the last objective for completing Wayfarer Foothills. We can complete this map, we can get our special reward, and then we can head to the 2nd map for the Norn here in the Shiverpeaks. There's some Sons of Swanir here with roadblocks in the road, but we can go ahead and just leap over them, and we can get this waypoint right here, and we can get our reward, which is nothing too particularly good. Those blueberries are kind of nice, and getting a free transmutation charge there. Well, free, we had to complete an entire map for it. We can go ahead and consume that, and then I'll go ahead and just clear my inventory a little bit, and let's go ahead and read the letter we got, which is from Aristogakin, which reads, "Greetings, no less than 4 strangers came up to me yesterday to speak of your recent exploits. You are a rare find in these dark times, someone who selflessly protects so many lives. May the spirits watch over you." Written by Air. A very nice message that we got when we completed that map there. Let's go ahead and run through this portal into Snowden Drifts, which is the 2nd map here in the Shiverpeak Mountains, 2nd map that Norn traditionally go for. They could also go to Diasa Plateau and hang out at the Charr, but this map is level 15 to 25, which is perfect for right after completing the Wayfarer Foothills, which with recent updates, I'm still kind of a little bit iffy about those changes. Not too good, because we are now level 22 and we've just completed the 1st map and 1st story chapter, but nevertheless we are here and can talk to the scout to see what's going on.
The road here used to be filled with traffic going to and from Lion's Arch. But now, even caravans with armed escorts aren't safe. Those Sons of Svanir youngsters keep acting up and causing trouble. But the creatures corrupted by Jormag's ice are the greater threat. If you could help the Lion Guard secure and protect the area, I'm sure the spirits would smile upon you.
So this map is a really cool area, and there's a ton of stuff going on here. I say really cool area like every map, so it kind of loses its meaning, but honestly I just love this game so much, and I genuinely mean it with every single area we go to. But as I said, there's a ton of stuff going on in this map, and if you look right here, there are like 5 different scouts just in this like one area. So this zone isn't as linear as other zones in this game is. as I kind of talked about how you can complete some tasks, go talk to a scout, and they guide you to the next tasks, and then at the final task that they guide you to, there's another scout that would do the same exact thing. Here, you can kind of do that, but for the most part, we're kind of just going to go run around the map a little bit until we get all of the map completion objectives that we need. So let's go ahead and head out, and I'll just go ahead and come southwest here, which is the first task in this area, which is remove any dangers along line road, assist line guard, travelers, and local hunters, check hunters traps to remove dangerous creatures trapped inside. Let's go ahead and come over here. I see some hunters traps right here, so there's a ton of wolves, and there's a hunter that's down right there. An ice-brood wolf is not something we want in a trap. Let's go ahead, and then we can continue taking care of this task. So the Shiverpeaks, compared from Guild Wars 1 to Guild Wars 2, is really interesting, because in Guild Wars 1, the Shiverpeaks are very inhospitable. We're basically the only faction of allies that kind of lived here were the dwarves. There's, you know, some other people here and there as well, but for the most part, it's just the dwarves that hung out here. And of course, nowadays, the dwarves no longer exist, except for Ogden Stonehealer. But now the Norn, who have come south into this area of the Shiverpeaks, have taken up residence here and have kind of tamed this area and have worked to make this area safer, and the Lion Guard also help out where there are a ton of havens, where we've explored 3 havens in the Shiverpeaks already, 4 if you kind of count the one in Diasa Plateau that's basically in the Shiverpeaks but it's technically in Ascalon. But it's kind of fun for people who have played Guild Wars 1 to run through the Shiverpeaks in Guild Wars 2, because you can run from Ascalon to Kryta and kind of recreate the journey that you do in that campaign, but doing so 250 years later. We have completed this task, which means we can go ahead and come over here and start working on the next one. And here is a Lion Guard camp, not a haven, just a little bit of a camp. And if you come right over here, we can get our second task, which is destroy corrupted ice blocking the main road, help the Lion Guard defending Snowhawk Landing's northern border, and defeat any ice brood in the area. So let's go ahead and come over here, and we can go ahead and fight all the ice brood up here in this little camp. So speaking of the Shiverpeaks, we've kind of referenced the Shiverpeaks, and we've also referenced Kryta and Ascalon and all these regions of the road. The Shiverpeaks can kind of be broken up into like 3 distinct regions, and we haven't spent too much time looking at the roadmap yet, so let's go ahead and take just a brief moment to kind of look at it a little bit more. Of course, we will constantly be referencing it throughout this series. But here we are in this little area of the Snowden Drifts. We can zoom out and we can see the Shiverpeak Mountains here. And this area of the Shiverpeaks that I'm kind of just going to loosely circle right here can kind of be referred to as the northern Shiverpeaks. And then when we come down here, we can circle this area, which is called the Dildramore Front, named after the dwarves. We can circle this, and we can consider this kind of the southern Shiverpeaks. So we have the southern Shiverpeaks, and then we have the northern Shiverpeaks. So the southern Shiverpeaks are very much a home to like the dwarves, and they made their way into like the northern Shiverpeaks for the most part, but they kind of stopped like right here. And then we have the far Shiverpeaks, which actually, if we come all the way north that we can, it actually cuts off on the map here at the top here, where the Shiverpeak mountain range keeps going further and further north, but we cannot see it on the map. This is as far north as you can see here in the far Shiverpeaks, which makes up this entire area. And maybe one day we will be able to go even further north than this, which actually about right here is basically the furthest north we have ever gone in Guild Wars 2 anywhere in the world. But speaking of going further north, we can go ahead and head north out of this little area here, which is actually a fallen haven. We can see that the ice brood have taken over. We can go ahead and speak with the Lion Guard here, which is the scout for the next region of Snowden Drifts here.
Jormag's corruption runs deep in these mountains. It warps everything, even the ice itself. The Lion Guard fights to keep the roads safe, but we just can't keep up anymore. Now even the steadholders are having trouble getting through. We could really use some help dealing with these challenges.
So you can go ahead and work on the map completion objectives up here. I'm going to go ahead and come over here a little bit, because there's actually a cave here in the northeastern area of Snowden Drifts that we can explore. So let's go ahead and come over here, and we can take a look at this cave that has a ton of murlocs in it, if that is how you pronounce that name. This area is called Trapper's Labyrinth, and we can see there's a merchant's corpse right there. So that merchant was camping out in this cave, and let's just say this is probably not somewhere you should be camping out. However, it is somewhere that is very pretty. Then we can go ahead and run south out of here, but here we see some dredge, and we can actually see right here are some dredge rebels that are level 75, and this is another entrance into Frostgorge Sound. So we saw one in Wayfarer Foothills right there. There's another one which goes into the higher level area of Frostgorge Sound, so we're definitely going to be ignoring that one for now. Here I see there's a waypoint here, and we already have it unlocked. I think that was a little weird, but there's a hero challenge here that we can get. So let's go ahead and chat with this Coda in here. We can say I'm ready.
And Coden the jury.
So the Coda are a new race of creatures that we have not really interacted with at all in this Let's Play series. I think we might have met like one or two here and there, but we basically haven't talked about them at all. But they are a race of polar bear creatures, basically, that reside in the same areas that Norn resided, and they are similar to the Norn. Were also pushed south by the Elder Dragon Jormag, and they actually came on giant ships that are basically just like cities that are attached to giant icebergs. And they basically live on those icebergs, and they also make camps here and there throughout the Shiverpeaks, where this is like a very small encampment that has a few of them. That's mostly just tents. We'll see some other camps that have some bigger structures. But the Coden are a very interesting race of people that we are going to have the opportunity to learn a lot about, especially when we go to Frostgorge Sound, and especially as we continue the story far in the future. Let's go ahead and just continue getting some of the waypoints here. And we can run over here, and we can do this task right here, which is to defend the hunting grounds here, where we can go ahead and fight some ice brood, which is a common theme in this map, where Jormag's influence is very prevalent here, and we can try to save this area of the world from his influence. And then we can go ahead and run right over here, where we have another task and a waypoint here, where for this task we can push back Icebreed Raiders and help out the local crafters, the Tanner and the Stone Crafter. So here we have the Stone Crafter, which there are two wolves here that we can go ahead and fight. And then I believe this is a little bit of a special task, which I'm never quite sure what we should be doing here. So let's go ahead and spend some time with the Tanner and some time with the Stone Crafter here. Let's talk to the Stone Crafter. And it looks like some Earth Elementals just came up, so let's go ahead and fight them off really quickly. This is probably definitely helpful for her. Then we can ask, what are you doing here? And she is gathering ore for a statue. And then she is alone, and we can help her fight Elementals and Ice Brood, where we just fought some Elementals there. So I think for the most part we can kind of just run around with the Stone Crafter here, and basically just defend her from any threats that come against her. Like these two Earth Elementals that spawn right here. We can go ahead and deal with them really quickly with our Greatsword here, which is very powerful. And then let's go ahead and chat with the Tanner here, who's standing right next to a Norn weapon rack. And I see that there are a ton of rabbits, and as I turn around there aren't any. Let's go ahead and chat with the Tanner
This is a
here,
bad time to be
and
traveling.
we can go ahead and hunt the rabbits, get fur, and bring the fur back. So here we have a bull that has an ability called Poison Dart, and this ability is a ground target ability, so we need to lead, which means we have to kind of like predict where the rabbit is going to be before we shoot. So we kind of have to aim in front of them, and then I failed horribly there. Can go ahead and hunt these wolves. They might be a little bit easier, except we still have the same longbow equipped. But something really cool with this longbow here is when we shoot it and the arrow goes through the grass here, we can see the grass actually moves, which is very, very cool. And when the rabbits run through the grass as well, it also moves. You know, there's just a few wolves over here that are kind of a danger to this camp here. Can just shoot a few more. I think we need like 2 more after that one. It was indeed 2 more, and that was our Staff Master achievement. So something very special with all these Weapon Master achievements is that sometimes some certain like things that you can pick up or different abilities that you use will actually count towards certain weapons. So I think pet kills actually count as a staff kill, which is very funny. But the last thing in this little area of the road is this waypoint right here. So let's go ahead and run over here, and we can just get this waypoint unlocked so we can return here whenever we want. This is a very kind of pretty camp here where there's a little bit of a lodge here and some Dalyacs and a pin here. You can go ahead and run into this lodge which has a Dalyak at the entrance here kind of blocking the way here. We can actually talk to the Dalyak, which barely flicks its eyes towards you as you walk up. It seems comfortable in its current state. We can shove the Dalyak, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it alone. There's also a fireplace here, which with the fireplace's size, the common room must have been an excellent place to rest and socialize after a hunt. Judging by the lack of ashes, it hasn't been used in a long time. There's also a bathing tub here, which the water in this tub is freezing cold and a little stale. It looks like an animal has been using it as a trowel. I wonder what animal. Coming out here, we have Sally Lonestead here. We can go ahead and chat with him. And he says, when I was little, the other kids and I would play in the hollows, but now there's no one to play with. Everybody left. We can ask, why did everyone leave? And we can say, my papa won't tell me, but you can ask him. He won't let me play in the woods by myself. He says it's gotten dangerous, but if he's not afraid, neither am I. And we can ask, why is there a Dalyak inside your home? And he says, we let them in sometimes when they get sick or unhappy. They're really the only family my papa and I have other than each other. I wish they could talk, then I'd have someone to talk to. Can go ahead and talk to that boy's father here, and he says this used to be a bustling homestead back before the dragons arrived. Now I'm all that remains. Can ask what happened to everyone. Some died, some moved to other homesteads, and more than I'd like to admit joined the Svanir. Why would they join the Svanir? As far back as I can remember, the hunters in our homestead focused on acquiring power and little else. We made offerings to Bear, seeking to gain her strength, ignoring her guidance. When Jormag arrived, our focus on strength above all caught up with us. For far too many of us, Jormag offered a direct path to power, and so they left in waves and will never return. So we can see why so many Norn turned to the elder dragon Jormag, because Jormag offers power, and power and strength is one of the most important parts of Norn culture, so many Norn become influenced and corrupted in that crave for strength. But as far as this episode goes, I'm going to go ahead and call it good here. Hope you all enjoyed playing through this episode. We did a ton this episode, and I enjoyed playing through it all myself. But I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Remember, drink some water, check your posture, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time in the world of Tyria. Goodbye.